See, when you've been changed, you don't worry about what people say about you. You don't worry about what people think about you, because you realize that's who you used to be. Now you're on your way to who you're going to be. And you can thank God and say, I'm not what I want to be. Oh, but thank God I'm not what I used to be. A wonderful. What could nobody do it but God? Let's put like somebody's supposed to be dead, sleeping in a grave right now. Somebody's supposed to be behind jail walls, but because of the grace of God, because of the mercies of God, He covered you and you're not that person anymore. A wonderful change. Thank God for your presence here today. God is a good God. Our visitors, we are glad you are here with us today celebrating Mother's Day. Sorry for the disappointment, Elder Underwood could not be here. But God is still good, amen. God is still good. In spite of it all, God is still good. I know some have a full day ahead. I just have a few to say, but I want God to be God. We want him to have his way. If you don't mind, turn with me to Psalms 3. I want to look 1 through 5. Psalms 3, verses 1 through 5.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God.
Selah. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me.
Yes, Lord.
My cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy will, Selah. I laid me down and slept. I awakened, for the Lord sustained me. Just for a few moments, I want to talk about watch the enemies around you. Watch the enemies around you. We've been taught that the devil is our worst enemy. In fact, the Bible said that the thief comes not but to steal, kill, and destroy. But I've lived and learned long enough to know that the devil is not my only enemy. From experience, I've learned that people will and can do everything to try and destroy you. Not only is it the people you think it would be, but it's the people you think it wouldn't be. It's the people you call friends, the people that you call family, the people you trust most, the ones you depend on most, are the ones that will try to destroy you faster than anything. But you need to know that no matter what or who it is, when God has anointed you, when God has his hand on your life, there is not one that can touch what God is doing in your life. I don't care what you've done. I don't care who you've done it with. I don't care how bad of a person you've been in your lifetime. I don't care how much dirt they try to throw on you. And I don't care how bad the gossip is about you. When God has anointed you, there's nobody that can touch what God is doing in your life. Can I know today that people trying to destroy God's people, you better be careful of what you do. God is giving warning to those trying to attack his people. Because the tribe of Canaan can be a witness when God sent warning to them to do no harm to Abraham and his son. He told them, touch not mine anointed one. Do my prophets no harm. Why? Because they were his anointed ones. And God would not have those touch who have been set apart for himself. He calls them his own by saying, mine anointed. Thank God today that even though you messed up and jacked up, you've fallen short of the glory of God, you sinned against God, he still loves you enough to call you his own. Put security and protection all around you, and don't be influenced by what people call you, because you are who God called you to be. When you have the Spirit of God working in you, it doesn't matter what people call you, because God says you're his. As your present circumstance cannot be compared to the glory of God that dwells in you. David here can bear witness that it wasn't the devil that destroyed him. 2 Samuel 15, you'll find when Absalom, the son of David, plotted against him to steal the kingdom. Anybody had a problem, they come so the king could settle it. Absalom sitting at the gate of the city, and a man comes with his concern. Absalom asked the man, what city are you from? The man told him he was from the tribes of Israel. Absalom told him the problem is right, but the king has no one that can listen to you. Look at it. Absalom is the son of David. He told the man that there is nobody that can listen to his problem. Isn't it amazing the people close to you are the people quicker to throw dirt on you faster than the grave digger? They are the ones quick to indirectly bash you on Facebook, talk about you behind your back, and then smile in your face like everything is all right. You need to know that when you are blessed and when God is elevating you to bigger and better, people can't stand the sight of what God is doing in your life. That's why it pays to know the promises of God. Because when you know the promises of God, you benefit from the blessings of God. And as a child of God, you're blessed despite of what people try to do to you. And because you bless, you benefit from the blessings of God. You may not have the nice car that you want, but the benefit of God's blessing is you still get from point A to point B. You might not have a nice big house and live in cooler apartments, but the benefit of God's blessing is you still have a roof over your head. You might not have all the money that you want, but the benefit of God's blessing is that He supplies every one of your needs. When people brag about the benefits their job has to offer, I look at them, I got to tell them something. I live a life. Has each and every one of my needs, and He never lets me go without. Don't beat yourself up over what you don't have. You need to thank God for what you do have. He said if you be faithful over a few things, then He make you rule over many. That's why people throw shade and hate your way, because they see God blessing you. And can I suggest that you ought to thank God even when your neighbor is being blessed? Because that's where God is in the neighborhood. Not only am I going to praise Him for your blessing, but I'm going to praise Him for mine on the way. After Absalom stole the hearts of the people of Israel, Absalom told David, let me go to Hebron. I want to carry out my promise I made to the Lord while I'm living in Geshur and Abel. David told him, go in peace. Absalom went to Hebron. He sent secret messengers throughout the tribes of Israel. They told the people, when you hear the trumpets, say this: Absalom is king at Hebron. David was put out of the kingdom. He was coming through Baram. And a man named Shimei came out. He was in the family of Saul. Shimei threw stones and cussed David, because he had felt like David had took the kingdom from Saul. When you know what God has made you, you don't worry about what people call you. When you know who you are, you can walk freely and not worry about what people even think about you. To take note today, that when you are walking with God and walking in the purpose He has for your life, you need to expect some interruption along the way. You need to expect people to lie on you. You need to expect people to talk about you, and even expect people to bring up who you used to be. David didn't take the kingdom from Saul. God rejected Saul as king, because Saul didn't do what God told him to do. God sent Samuel to Saul to tell him that as king of Israel, God wants you to totally destroy the Amalekites. But when doing it, he spared the best of the sheep and the cattle. And Samuel came back to Saul, told him, I did just what God had asked. Samuel said, if you did, then why do I hear sheep bang? Saul said, they did it to sacrifice them to God. But God gave specific instructions for Saul to completely destroy them. Saul said, I have sinned. I've broken the Lord's commandments. I haven't done what you directed me to do. I was afraid of the men. So I did what they wanted me to do. And can I tell you that when you are on an assignment for God, you don't have time to worry about what people think and their opinions on what you do. Because you're not living to please people, you're living to please God. Some people will never be pleased with what you do, no matter how hard you try. Psalm 3 here, the Psalm of David after he fled from Absalom. The first thing we see here, verses 1 and 2, is a complaint to God. Can I suggest that it's not about how you cry, but it's about who you cry to? In verse 1, he starts off by saying, Lord. And it seems to be evident that David knew who to cry to in his time of trouble. He was complaining about the multitude of his enemies that was against him. In 2 Samuel 15 verse 12, you find it written that the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom, while the troops of David constantly diminished. David cries, Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? This was a point of exclamation to express the wonder of great sorrow in David's time of distress. In your time of trouble, be careful who you cry to. And be grateful that you have access to God yourself. Because in your moments of distress, sorrow, and depression, you'll discover that some people are not really who they claim to be. You'll find that people will praise with you on the mountaintop, but won't cry with you in the valley. Because I'm reminded that David said, yea, though I walk through the valley. And understand there are things that you will never realize in life until you get in the valley. Valleys are significant because they teach you valuable lessons in life. Valleys will show you who your real friends are. Because you'll find that everybody that said they was with you, they was not really with you. But valleys will help you to know who you are, because it's in the valley that you realize that everything people said you couldn't do, you realize that you could do it all alone.
All right,
in the Old Testament, the monarchy and the priesthood were strictly separated. The priests came from the lineage of Aaron, from the tribe of Levi. And only they could approach God at the temple. Or only they could offer the sacrifices. The rest of the Jews could not. But under the new covenant, there is no longer a priest who must come from a specific tribal line. And today you ought to be glad that you can go to God for yourself, because I don't have to confess anything that I've done to anybody else, but I can take it to God directly because I have direct access to the King. Verse 2, he says there is no help for him in God. Now understand that David's situation was so bad that men felt that he was beyond God's help. Those who said this probably didn't feel that God was unable, they probably felt like that God was unwilling to help him. They looked at David's sin and figured this is what he deserved from God. Now David was human just like us. He made mistakes just like us. And I told y'all before that David had two great sins in his life. The first was numbering the children of Israel. Numbering was a sin because God doesn't want us to depend on our numbers, but he only wants us to depend on him. And the second was the act of adultery with the wife of Uriah, when David had impregnated Bathsheba, and to cover up, he pulled Uriah from the battle. When David discovered that he could not put the baby on Uriah, he sent him back to battle and told his men to put him in the hardest part of the battle, so Uriah could be killed. And once Uriah was killed, David and Bathsheba lived a happy life with their baby. Now notice that people thought that God was unwilling to save, but they understood that he was able. It is in the most bitter of all afflictions to be led to fear that there is no help for us in God. While they thought that there was no help for him in God right then and there, they later discovered that the help from God came when he sacrificed his son. And remember, Jesus Christ had to endure this in the deepest degree when he cried, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And when they then discovered that David was messed up, they discovered that David was still saved. And I need to talk to some people that have been in the same situation as David. People thought God couldn't save you. People thought that God would send you to hell for your sins. But I need you to understand that even though that you're messed up, God says that you're still saved. It says in Hebrews 8 and 12, for I will be merciful toward their evil deeds, and their sins will I remember no more. Secondly, we see confidence in the Lord, found in verses 3 and 4. The many said there was no help from him in God. David knew that God was his shield. Others couldn't shake David's confidence in a God of love and help. Under attack from a cunning and ruthless enemy, David needed a shield. Because of his confidence, help was his shield. This wasn't a prayer asking God to fulfill this. This is a strong declaration of a fact. You, O Lord, are a shield for me. Now take note from David. He was distressed, but he still had confidence that God was his shield. The word in the original signifies more than a shield. It means a buckler round about. A protection which shall surround a man entirely. A shield above, beneath, around, without, and within. Can I suggest that you ought to thank God that he shielded you from some of the things that were trying to get a hold of you in your life? I guess there's some people here who's never been, something's had a stronghold on you, but when you cried to God, you found out that he shielded you from some of the dangers in your life. He wards off the fiery darts from Satan from beneath, and the storms of trials from above, while at the same instance speaks peace to the tempest within the breast. He protects your feet below from the ditches your enemies try to dig for you. David said, my glory and the one who lifts my head. God was more than David's protection. He also was the one who put David on higher ground, lifting his head and showing him glory. Even though there was nothing uplifting about David's situation, David understood that it was something uplifting and glorious in his God. Because the glorious and uplifting thing about my God is that even in my trouble, I can lift up mine eyes unto the hills from which cometh my help, knowing that all my help comes from the Lord. He will not suffer my foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Last and thirdly, I see God's safety. He said, I laid me down and slept. I awakened. And David's faith enabled him to lay down. He was able to sleep in the midst of trouble, surrounded by foes. There is a sleep of perception. There is a sleep of holy confidence. But David said, he awakened also. Well, David was exposed to many enemies. He took comfort and reclined his head on the bosom of his God. Slept happily between the wing of providence and sweet security, and then awoke in safety. David, how could you sleep knowing that your enemies was all around? David said all night and all day, I had angels watching over me. Not only was it God's safety, but it was God's favor. Because David said, the Lord sustained me. Can I tell you that God favored me in spite of my enemies? They whispered, conspired, and they told their lies, but God favors me. My character, my integrity, my faith in God, but He favors me. I will not fall and I will not bend. I won't compromise, but God favors me. They're wondering why I did not die, but it's because God favored me. Can I tell y'all, I don't worry what people think about me. I don't worry how people feel about me, because I know the Lord sustains me. I know the Lord is covering me. Can I tell y'all that I'm glad today that I am His child? Because in my trouble, in my distress, in my despair and cry, I can go to God in prayer, for He knows my every care. Is there anybody in here today that can say, even though my enemies tried to touch me, God was a hedge of protection all around me? They plotted against me, they talked about me, they lied on me, but still, my God, He favors me. I came to tell somebody that I'm reminded that on Calvary, even Jesus had enemies. They were there at the foot of the cross, yelling, crucify Him, crucify Him. But what they didn't know, that if they crucified Him, He would get up again on the third day. And Jesus said, I'm He that liveth, that was dead. Behold, I'm alive again. And I came to tell y'all, keep on walking, keep on talking, keep on living, because it ain't nothing your enemies can do with you, because you're a child of the King. When they talk about you, He's elevating you. When they lie on you, He's elevating you. When they get you straight, He's elevating you. Because we serve a God who's our protector, who's our sustainer, who's our lily in the valley, our bright and morning star, our wheel in the middle of a wheel. Do you know my Jesus? He's Mary's baby, the Son of God. Went down, red trumpet and then, but right early on the third morning, He got her up with all power in His hand. I came to tell you, watch the enemies, watch the but I came to tell you, you don't need a friend, because what a friend we Everything was gone in prayer. Goodbye now. Happy Mother's Day. But remember, the same people that mama told you would tear you down. The same people that mama told you would leave your side. Watch them people keep walking with God. Stay in the word. Ain't you alright? My mama told me that people would talk about me. She told me people would lie on me. But I thank you because it made me who I am today. And can I tell you that who I am now is not who I'm gonna be, because the Lord, He's still working on me. He's still making me. He's still molding me and still shaping me. Ain't God alright? Anybody know we serve an alright God? If you don't see me down here no more, I'll be on the other side somewhere. Listen for my name, cause I'm glad one of these mornings God and Jesus is coming to get me. And I'll be over there where the streets are paved with gold, where every day will be Sunday and the sweet Sabbath will have no end. Ain't it alright?
All the people say amen. All of God's people say amen.